So did you know in Japan you can rent a family? You can rent like parents and siblings. Let's take a look.
So I can go to Japan and lease my family?
Yeah, no, well, maybe, yeah.
Did you know that loneliness is such a serious social issue in Japan that there is a service that allows you to rent a family? Recently, there was a viral video of American comedian Conan O'Brien highlighting this issue when he rented out a family for himself. But what we wanted to do was dig deeper and find out about how this industry actually works. Recently, we had a chance to interview the CEO of a family rental company.
That's him. He's the CEO of a company called Family Romance. And so, yeah, maybe if you want to go loan out your family and make some money, that's who you talk to.
No, I'll be the CEO.
All right.
Family will be one that I rent out.
No, honestly, I think we're
bunch
gonna
of different ones.
We might
from
need
all
this.
different parts of the world.
We might need this in the U.S. soon. So let's take a look at rental friends and family.
海外の視聴者さんたちの中で、
はい、
まずなんでこういうサービスが必要なのかがそもそも理解できない方もいらっしゃると思うんですけど、なんでそもそも日本ではこういうのを求めている人たちがいるのかちょっと教えていただけますか？
日本人って第三者を気遣ったりとかその敬うっていう気持ちがとても強くてですね、逆にそれが本音を言えないっていうところにつながってしまったりしてると。だからそういう友達とかをレンタルすることでこうなんとか形を作ってですね、その場をやりきるとか。
でも例えば家族の
You can rent a friend and like you can just like tell them like all of your problems and like vent to them. You know, in a way,
It's like therapy.
yeah, you can actually trick people into seeing a therapist by having them rent a friend. That's a new
You
business
need a
model.
friend.
Yeah. You need a friend, you need someone you can talk to for only $50 an hour. $100 an hour if you want professional advice.
I'll
$50
provide- I
$50
will
an hour.
rent a smoker buddy. You don't know how to smoke, but you need someone to hang out with all day to not only smoke you out, but sit with you.
Yeah, so it's
Trip sitter.
So it's $50 if you for an hour if you want to rent a pair of ears, and then $100 an hour if you want advice.
The drugs with it.
The drugs with it. Rent a plug. Okay, so yeah, you can rent friends, but you can also rent a family as well.
I think you're gonna say drug dealers.
でも例えば家族のレンタルっ
For
て
him.
なんで必要なんですかね？
家族をレンタルしたい人ってですね、さまざまな理由があってですね、例えば結婚前の両家の挨拶で両親が必要になったけど、実際の両親とは絶縁状態で、とてもじゃないけど来てくれないと。そういった
So sometimes they need rental parents because their parents disown them.
That's common with Korean families too.
Sure, no, it's yeah, it's common, and that's why
Asian people disown their kids
it's like
over
why
weird stuff.
deal with the pain, because he says like image is a huge thing in Japan. It's like, why deal with the pain of your parents not being there and show everyone that, you know, that your parents stood you up when you can just rent some.
Yes.
時にですね、じゃあお父さんお母さんを借りてしまって両家の挨拶に参加してもらった後に結婚式も参加してもらったりとか、一応参加するとですね、家族なんで
Yeah,
一回きりじゃ終わら
maybe
ない
your real family sucks.
あとは出産の立ち会いの時に
They have to go to childbirths. That's crazy. Imagine. Okay, hold on. Actually, let's get into the next one. I just wanted to show you what kind of situations they get into. So why start a company like this?
Situations?
Yes.
Oh.
Is it, you know, and his reasoning is actually much more like compassionate than it is like, you know, just for money.
石井さんはどうやってこのお仕事を始められたんですか？何か始められたきっかけとかってありましたか？
僕は今年37になるんですけど、今からですね13年ぐらい前の時、24ぐらいの時ですかね、知人の女性でシングルマザーをやってる人がいてですね、でその娘さんをその彼女はですね私立の幼稚園に行かせたかったと。ただやはり片親っていうところでどこの幼稚園も面接すら受けさせてくれなかったっていう話を聞いた時に、こういったレンタル家族っていうものをですね使って世の中の社会の穴埋めが少しでもできればなと思ったのがこの起業にきっかけですかね。
Wow, so he had a friend when he was 24 who couldn't get her daughter into a kindergarten because she was from a single parent household and she
Yeah.
couldn't even get an interview. And he's saying like he wanted to correct like the wrongs that he sees like in society. So I guess like, yeah, it's very judgmental, like like these wrongs in his society, and he's like, it's just an image thing, so why
Yeah,
don't I just
it's
give
like
people that image?
that image,
Yeah, of like coming from like a household. I don't know. It's crazy. So what's also crazy about this is he's not just the CEO. He is also one of the rental like
People.
actors, right? So you
Yeah,
can rent
like
him.
I would have rented my kids.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
I
no, but he
opened up
rents-
like anyone available who wants
He
to go
rents
hang out.
himself out as like a
He's their
father.
friend.
Yeah.
He was probably the father the first time.
Yeah. So
I
let's
mean,
take
you know.
let's take a look at this nuts job of being the CEO of a company and also a father, a rental father, and
Or friend or
ちなみ
whatever.
に石井さん自体はもう社長として運営する側のみなんですか、それともレンタル。
そうですね、僕自身はですね、今現在も
rental
レン
husband.
タル夫でやったりとか、レンタルパパ
Is
ってい
that
う
like
形
code
で、
for
まあ
prostitute?
家庭に入ったりすることを現役で続けてます。それはなぜかというとですね、やっぱ利用していただくとですね、まあ、そういう単発では終われない、やはりその家族としての責任感というのもあってですね、やはり
It's
ず
like
っと
Wait,
リピート
weren't you my
される
friend's
方が
husband?
いらっしゃいますし、
And you're this
僕自身
person's
も9
husband?
年ずっとリピートされてて、
For 9
もともと
years?
小4の娘さんがいて、そのお子さんが不登校になってしまってですね、学校に行かないってことに対してそのお母さんは悩んでいて、娘のためになんとかサポートしてほしいっていうところでもう9年間利用されていると。まあ、その娘さんは学校行くようになって、今はもう小4だったのがもう19歳
Do
になって
they
です
know
ね
you're not the
専
real
門学校
dad?
に通ってますので
その娘さんはまだ石井さんがお父さん。
本当のお父さんだと思ってますし、そういう
She doesn't know what. And I have
See? I was
similar
like, wait,
families to
Do these
that.
people know? Because don't you look the same wherever you go? How big is Japan?
See how many families
家
he
庭がで
has.
すね、僕は20
25?
継続して持ってます。
That's almost like you know the old joke where it's like you find out you're adopted and it's like
You
what
have
like
a rental dad.
yeah it's like through like imagine like
And you
you're
have 20,
19 years
25
old.
step siblings.
You're 19 years old and you
Technically.
figure out your dad is an actor. That must be so like it's almost unbelievable to like think about.
Well, what happens when those kids?
It's like the
You know,
Truman
like,
Show.
The kids who grow up seeing their dad and watching movies of superhero, like, but then recognizing that their dad was the actor.
This
Do you
is
think that's
this
traumatic?
is like yeah, I think it would be. Honestly, I think it would be. It's like the
'Cause you're
Truman
like,
Show.
Wait, who's who?
Exactly.
What's what?
No, it's like
You just shattered my reality, or things
because
that I
you
based-
base a lot
I know,
of
so I'm like,
you
I
base a
think this
lot
is good then.
yeah you base a lot of your like your development off of assumptions that this person
Yeah, you
is your
can't
father.
Lie to the kid.
That's why I'm saying it's like the Truman Show. Like when Jim Carrey figures out it's all fake, like I feel like that's the same psychological undoing that you're going to
Trauma.
see with these kids. I figure out like, wait, my dad is an actor? Like oh, like
well,
what
maybe
is-
that will correct it. They'll be like, screw images forever, and then the next generation will.
Well, I don't know. Do you think his company is making that problem better or worse? That like this because his company
Because
exists
they're just perpetuating
because
the image.
yeah, the image that people need to have in order to be like successful or to be less lonely in Japan.
Maybe this is his way of getting 25 families. Why?
Well, okay, so I actually have an opinion on it, but then we'll see. Like,
Okay.
I only was able to form my opinion after I saw all these videos. So let's see
about what he's doing, whether
let's see
it's
what
good
he-
or not bad for
Yeah.
society.
But let's
Well,
see because we'll actually visit
it's
a
a
guy that
service.
rents out a family. But let's first look at
I don't think the lying part. I think it could be adjusted.
oh, and so the only thing that you can do with the actors is hold hands. You can't even hug. So it's not like a prostitution service. It's just you're literally
That's
just
good,
renting
that's
out
good,
the
'cause I was
family.
like,
Okay, so
they've got
yeah.
some,
So
know,
what if
rules.
what if someone finds out? Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, what if they see them? They're like,
What
this
if your daughter finds
やられ
out?
た時の怖いですね。
あ
どれだけ傷つけてしまうのかっていうのが。
そうですね、この僕自身やっぱメディアに結構出ることが多いので、実
Like
際
right now-
お子さんがテレビとかメディアを通じて僕のことを見る可能性って普通にあったりするんですけど、もしお子さんがテレビを通じて僕を見た時も、僕はその代行で
I was acting.
社長で石井って名乗ってるんで。
That was a commercial. I mean, I guess the it's weird because the thing that got you into the problem is also your solution for getting out of it, which is acting.
But I don't know, like the lying to I thought it was known by the family what was going on. I had no idea that there was deception.
I think for
involved.
For the people that probably hire him, they probably know what's going on. But if you're young enough and you don't know and no one tells you, yeah.
My kids ask questions all the time. How do they avoid like who's who? That's a question they naturally are always.
But if you've never seen your dad, maybe.
And then how does she not remember that some guy showed up at 9 years old?
Yeah, maybe she's never seen her dad before.
And
and then it's like, this is your dad.
So they make up a whole story.
Right? Okay, so
I don't think that should be done. Like you could do this with and
all right, so
help the kids and the families at the same time. You don't have to.
Rule number 1 of family romance: don't fall in love with the client. Let's take a look at this.
That's like as hard as saying go fall in love.
Can you ever get married?
そうですね。
It's like I have 25.
今でも独身ですけど、200人近くの人たちのプロポーズを
200 marriage proposals.
受け入れようと思わなかったんですか？
心は毎回もちろん揺れてしまいますけど、そこはですね、立場上しっかり断らなきゃいけないってところは現実にはありますね。
実際に働いてる側とお客さんが本当の家族になっちゃったことってありますか？
中には結婚された人。
What? So a few of the family romance actors got married to the people that hired them.
Sure, they held hands after that.
Yeah.
More than held hands.
いるんですか？
いますね。同じようにレンタル夫をしてたですね、男性がですね、実は結婚式あげるんですけど、結婚相手がお客さんの何々さんなんですよって、僕自身は仕方ないと思ってます。ただ会社としての立場で言うとそれはダメだっていうことだけですね。
Yeah, so then they just get let go.
You know, in a weird way, it almost seems like a good way to meet people because it's like, hey, let's just pretend we're married and see how it feels like.
Yeah, let's see if we can pull this off.
And then it's like, hey, this actually works pretty well.
Like a trial run.
What should we call that? It's like Tinder, but more serious. Tindalope.
It's the pandemic without the virus.
All right, so how much does it cost to rent a family? Let's take a look.
Oh, yeah. It's a business.
レンタル家族って実際おいくらぐらいなんですか？
レンタル家族はですね、4時間で2万円となってます。ただ、それ以上利用したい人は1時間で5000円で追加が可能ですね。
全国に何人ぐらいいらっしゃるんですか？担当。
今は大体2000人ほどいます。
2000?
登録されているサラリーマンの方であったりとか。
He made like the Uber for actors. It's like a gig economy for like these 2,000.
So can I work as a pretend housewife?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
いらっしゃればもちろん定年退職された方々とか下は0歳から上は85歳くらいまで
0 to 85 years old.
Yeah, you need grandpas.
0歳でレンタル家族に
And an infant.
ありますね。やはりその赤ちゃんが必要な方って実はいたりするんんですよ。その赤ちゃんを直接雇うんじゃなくて、結局はですね、そのお母さんが
The mother is already the employee.
まあ子供生まれたから子供を登録したとかですね。
Do you get paid double then?
でもお母さん心配じゃないですかね。
もちろんその赤ちゃんを借りる場面っていうのは本当限られたところしかできないので、親が一緒に付き添ったりとかする場面が基本的に多いですけどね。ちょっと悲しくなっちゃう話なんですけど、余命数ヶ月のお父さんがいてですね、その依頼主はその娘さんですと。ただそのお父さんとは絶縁状態で全然会ってなかったんですよね。その絶縁状態になっちゃった理由が自分が反対してる人と結婚したからっていう理由だったんですけど、である時余命数ヶ月だからもうお前の子供が見たいっていう。ただその実際その時にはもう結婚した人とは離婚してしまっていて、お子さんも向こうに親権を渡してしまったので、彼女が選んだのは本当のことは言わずに赤ちゃんが連帯することで、まあ精神的な安静をこう渡したかった。
Oh my god.
Oh.
Dang. Wow, you never consider that like a baby would need to be rented. But then if you like consider like I don't know, like the crazy circumstance of like getting disowned by your father and then your father being terminal and like wanting to see his like kid
and not
or
being able to
grandchild.
like explain
Or, you know, not wanting to
tell them.
Right, it's easier to just like rent a child and give him that piece than it is to explain to
when
him
there's
that,
a company that can rent a child. How else are you going to rent a child? It's like that's not common anywhere else. Like
I know this guy. He's
everywhere else,
offering-
you're just gonna have to tell your dad, like, "Hey, man, you screwed up. You're too late."
We should try to
You're
make
never
a
gonna
phone
see your
app for him,
grandkid.
like an Uber phone app where you can just like call, like a black car. You can call on your phone. It's like I need a friend stat.
How does he make sure he doesn't run into the other 25?
You know, I heard in Japan it's hard for even Japanese people to tell each other apart.
Shut up.
I'm just kidding. Okay, let's look at an example of a person who actually rents a family. So this guy is the client, the guy who rents. This is the interviewer, and then this is a rental housewife and a rental daughter.
Don't tell me he lost his family in a tragic
No.
accident.
It's not. They'll explain it, or he'll explain it.
なんか遠慮してんの？
え？
かな遠慮してる？
ちょっと可愛くぶろうかなと思ったのにやめてよ。はい。
She's like, I can drink you all under the table. Don't try me.
食べる？食べてよお父さん。
お鍋やっぱり楽だからね。切って入れるだけだから。
もうちょっと大きいもんね。こんな食べるお父さん。
そう今日はちょっと大きめのやつを用意してるからいつも一人のやつしか用意してない。いただきます。
Oh, that looks fun.
もうあわほらもう酔っ払ってんじゃないの？ありがとうございます。
払ってません。
Maybe there's some nights he just doesn't want to eat alone.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to call his friends with families and blah blah blah.
They are like, we are a family. We're not acting.
何がきっかけね、ファミリーレンタル
We're
を
really
しよ
eating.
うと思われたんですか？
妻が亡くなってちょっと子供たちもちょっと飛び出していってまあ一人ぼっちになってし
Oh,
まっ
he's
て
older.
やっぱり一人になるとなんか家帰ってくるの寂しいなっていうのがあって電話番号ぐらいは知ってるんだけど、自分からも連絡しないし向こうからも連絡かかってこない。
それはどうしてかって伺っちゃっても大丈夫ですか？
女房がちょっと病気になってそれで自分はちょっともう会社を辞めてねこう看病しようと思って僕も初め女房の食事3食作ったりこう世話とかしてんだけどそのうちねだんだん変な話ちょっと下の世話もしなくなったりしないといけないとかちょっとねご飯食べたらすぐ吐くとか今から思うとなんか僕も悪かったんだけどなんか女房にやっぱり病気の女房にひどいこと言っちゃうんですよね。 なんでお前病気になったんだとかねお前が病気になんなかったら俺会社になくてよかったのにとかこんな思いしなくてよかったのにとかでその時やっぱり娘は僕のことを非常に怒ってたしなんでやっぱり一番しんどくてきついのはお母さんなのになんでそのお母さんにそんなこと言うのと言いながら自分はやっぱりねその時大学生から社会人になったぐらいで、ね、会社行って結構飲み会があるから遅いとか言ってあんまりねその僕からすると
Yeah, you do have to.
息子もお母さんの面倒見てないじゃないかっていう気持ちが
So basically what happened was his wife got sick and he left his job to like take care of her, but then he got tired of caregiving. I think it took like years and like his
That happens. That's very common. Caregivers
Yeah.
burn out.
and his kids got
Mad.
mad at the way he was treating their mom or his wife and so they disowned him, and so that's why he rents this family is because his wife passed away and his kids won't visit him. But you know what this also kind of reminds me of? You know when a person gets like an amputation, like let's say an arm amputation, they can get a phantom itch where they can feel an itch on like their hand, their right hand or their amputated hand, but then they can't actually scratch it because it's not
there.
They have nothing there to scratch.
Yeah.
So a lot of times there's like this therapy where like they'll mirror your hand and
So
then
that you
they'll
could,
scratch that
the
hand.
other
And so
one?
even though your hand isn't there, it'll look like it's there and your brain sees a hand being scratched.
And they'll be like, okay, now it's better.
Right? And so I feel like this rent-a-family is kind of like the same thing where you're really not happy with how like things played out. And like you can almost like rent a phantom family so you can like alleviate that part of your brain that like might feel guilt.
It's like, what can you do? Well, I don't know. Or is that stopping him from calling them?
Well, I mean in a general
He
sense.
needs a neighborly boy who's like the Home Alone guy kid.
Well, yeah, let's keep going with this because he's gonna keep talking.
Call them.
He's gonna talk about his family more.
Oh, okay.
すごくあって、そういうこともこう言ったりしてて、でそういうのを見てた娘息子がもう野球を最初出ていったみたいな感じ。
なるほど。このサービスを利用することで連絡してみようかなとか、なんかそういう気持ちの変化とかは。
Yeah, has this experience made you want to reach out to your family?
あといいかな、今度はまたなんかちょっとご飯なんかお好み焼きの食べに行こうねって話をした時に彼女がいや今度は本当のカナを誘ってもいいかもねってこう言ってくれた時に、あそうか僕がその変に意地を張ってねその
See, it
Oh,
is
so
like
she was the girl.
it is like therapy because his rental daughter gave him the idea like, why don't we invite your real daughter? And so it's like it gives kind of like the person like an opportunity to like reconsider things.
Yes, it brings it to the forefront, which he wasn't wanting to do. That's what I was like, is this just helping him avoid the...
Well, it
You
seems
know?
like, I mean, I think at first maybe
because
because
it'll make it worse.
at first it's like, I think he hires him because he feels lonely. Like it's like, and that's, you know,
just
a
to
symptom.
alleviate the first...
It's a symptom of him avoiding, right? But I think you know, at the end of the day, it's like, I don't think it's that fulfilling to have a rental family. And
because you know it's not them.
right.
And
you know what you're using them to avoid feeling, which is lonely but then the thing that you're avoiding is still there. And so, yeah, I think it's actually, I think it does
More
help people
therapeutic.
more than it does keep them. I don't know. I think it's helpful either way, whether they're avoiding something or they're actually like trying to come to terms with something.
yeah, at least they're not just by themselves, stuck in their head, going around in circles, because
Yeah.
that's not going to help their mental health.
Yeah. And these people are
loneliness
like,
or-
they're paid to like be positive and like wholesome around you. And so it's,
Yes, they're working, so they're not gonna get angry at you or yell at you but they'll probably be pretty honest because like what's there
Yes.
to lose? They're supposed to be family.
yeah.
So, and she probably made him maybe realize he would have something to talk about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
once
yeah.
you lose touch, you're like, what do I say? What do I
Yeah.
say? But then if there's someone
If you're
there that's
conversing with someone that's
yeah,
their
your daughter's
age,
age,
yeah.
and it's like, oh, we've had dinner, we've done this, and then they make it regular, then it's like, oh,
Yeah, she probably because I think you rent them for 4 hours and then the
At a
additional
time.
hour. Yeah, so it's like
it's best
she must-
you have to do a date.
yeah,
like,
and so
get
she
to know
must
each other.
catch him up on like pop culture or what she's doing. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
That's
Human interaction, I guess. That's what you're renting.
こっちが電話するもんかって思
People
って
need
る
that,
だ
even
けじゃなくてね
introverts.
こっちの方からこう子供たちにね連絡取ってもいいのかなと思ったまあこっちがねやっぱり自分の気持ちやっぱりもう一回やっぱり子供たちと一緒にねここで暮らしたいっていうのがあるからこっちがもうねそうやって話してもいいんじゃないかな
Yeah,
He's getting braver.
Get
the
yeah,
courage.
だけど
exactly.
でもなんか今までにその奥さんとしてくれてらっしゃる方となんか身体的にもっとちゃんと近づきたいとかつながりたいと思ったことはないんですか？
いやそれはないですね
おいでとか
He knows what the
ありが
boundaries
とう
are.
ってギューとかも
うん
したい衝動に駆られる時ってきっとあるじゃないですか。
あそれはある最後ハグしたいなとかさ
そういう時はぐっと我慢なんですか？
我慢してるかなやっぱり
それか握手とかですかね。
握手はしてるっていうか帰る時もじゃあ今日はどうもありがとうございましたっていう感じじゃなくてじゃあちょっと買い物行ってくるねみたいな感じでこう帰ってくるんですよ
Wow, that's so
Yeah.
帰っ
nice.
てくるみたい
It's
な
like, we'll see you soon.
So I think that's what the nice thing about this rental company is like they're trained to make it very familiar and not so
Yeah, you
like
don't just-
time's up.
It's not a one-time thing usually either.
But that's what you're paying for, right? It's like the I guess the acceptance. I don't know. I think it's really interesting. I think it's really professional how they handle it, and it really impresses me.
Yeah.
だけどすごいですなんか自然に帰っていかれますよ
じゃあ今あなたはどのくらい幸せですか？
全然幸せじゃない別に幸せじゃないよ
It's not happy.
今はまあ僕がこう頭下げてね娘と息子に連絡したらまた帰ってきてくれるんじゃないかなひょっとしたら
Oh,
ま
won't
た
they see this?
みんなで食事とかできるのかなそのうちあいつらも結婚してまた子供とかできるのかなとかそういう期待感ができてきたから、だからどん底の時はちょっとマシかな
I don't know. Maybe it's better if they see this because he talks about how he feels like remorse for how he acted.
And I feel like it's sad when it's traumatic whenever they lose one of their parents, regardless. So they probably feel bad too for things they, but they're just like, oh, what do you say? It's been so long.
I know. I mean, we know people who haven't spoken to their parents for like decades.
Yeah, I know people who've gone disowned and then they never went back. And I was like, oh, doesn't this happen every other year?
Yeah. Well, that's why we need to make Rental Family in America.
Yeah, but I don't know if that would have helped or if we would have not we would have been just like, forget it. This is my new family now. I'm not going back.
All right, so let's go back to the CEO and of Family Romance and see how things can get better in Japan.
の直面する一番大きな問題ってどんなところだと思いますか？
コミュニケーション不足だと思ってます。今の時代ってやはりその両親共働きであったりとか、時には片親とかで夕飯一人であったりとか、兄弟二人で食べたりとか、そういった環境がどうしても日本の社会的には起きてしまったりするので、どうしてもこのコミュニケーションっていう意味だとやはりこう不足しているところもありますし、お互い言いたいことがちゃんとその分言えなくなって、結果的にこの本当の親よりもレンタルする親を求めるっていうそのつながりになってしまっているという現状はやはりあったりします。
So yeah, he says communication.
Well, I don't know if Japanese culture is similar to Korean in that like it's very disrespectful to talk back to your parents. So it's not that we didn't have dinner with them. It was just
That's true.
You better not talk back it was like school or what, I don't know. The dynamics between a parent and a child in an Asian family, I think, or at least Korean family, was very different than what Americans would see as family dinners or whatever.
Yeah, there are a lot of more strict social, cultural, I think image norms. Like you have to keep up a certain image and even to your parents and you have to keep up a certain image.
Like how many friends do we have that they totally lie about certain aspects of their life and you're like, I think it's nope, I'm not ever going to tell my parents that.
Yeah, so I think that the disowning is so much more on the table for I think Asian cultures versus Western cultures. Seems like Western is more unconditional love type, whereas Asian cultures or at least maybe in Japan, it's if you don't marry the right guy or if you don't do certain things, you're just disowned and it's forever.
It's that's the thing, you dishonored your elders, you dishonored your parents, which is well, dishonoring you makes me not want to be me. So
see, this is why I read the Bible, because Jesus says, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think Jesus says you have to hate your parents to follow him. It's oh, okay.
Well, because you can't just follow everything they say. At some point, you become an adult and you recognize their mistakes that they made and their issues that they might have, and you have to separate. You can't always act the way they want you to act or be the way they want you to be, because you're not them, they're not you.
Yeah. So rent a family, rent a Bible, same thing.
Yeah.
Just kidding. All right. Well, if you guys need help communicating, go check out our merch store.
We'll be your friends.
Yeah, obviously.
Well, let's do some.
Well,
rent a Zoom call.
Rent a buds. If you don't have buds, we're your buds. We say it in every episode.
We can't rent them. You gotta just buy them.
No,
you can smoke them together.
Rent
a smoke buddy.
We'll do a Zoom sesh.
Rent a smoke buddy, a babysitter.
Come smoke with us.
A trip sitter.
I know, we should do that. All right, we'll figure it out. All right,
we could all do other things together.
All right.
That sounds too.
You're so weird. All right. If you wanna work on Rent-A-Plug with us, let us know in the comment. Actually, no, we seriously do want to make apps. So if you wanna make apps with us, let us know in the comments. We have we're gonna actually have a recruiting page soon.
Yes.
And so look out for that. All right, guys. I don't know. Yeah, go visit our merch store if you want cool stuff. But if you don't have buds, we're your buds. We'll see you in the next one.
I haven't burned a hole in my clothes for a minute because of these guys.
I know. I need to put this on the merch store
didn't put it up?
immediately. Immediately. Right, okay, I'll do it. All right, bye, guys.
If you like the video, leave a like and subscribe.